Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Thursday, May 17th, 2018. Today I'm going to recap last night's Game 2 between the Rockets and the Warriors, last night's Game 3 between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Winnipeg Jets, go over yesterday's baseball action, look ahead to today's action. I'm going to revisit some preseason baseball predictions and see how I'm looking so far at the quarter mark of the season. And I'm going to go over my predictions for the WNBA season, which begins tomorrow. All right, here we go. NBA playoffs, conference finals, Game 2 in the West. Rockets feed the Warriors 127-105. It's a 1-1 series now. Chris Paul was incredible in this game, as well as James Harden. Harden, 27 points, 10 rebounds in the win. Kevin Durant put up 38 in defeat, and this series will resume on Sunday. And there's no NBA playoff games again until Saturday when the Cavaliers host the Celtics for that Game 3. The Vegas Golden Knights defeated the Winnipeg Jets 4-2 to take a 2-1 series lead in Game 3 of the conference finals. First period, 35 seconds in, Jonathan Marchessault's 7th of the playoffs, assisted by Braden McNabb, 1-0 Knights. Second period, Mark Sheffley's 13th of the playoffs, assisted by Blake Wheeler, 1-1 tie. James Neal's 4th of the playoffs, assisted by Eric Halla, 2-1 Knights. Alex Tuck's 5th of the playoffs, assisted by James Neal and Nate Schmidt, 3-1 Knights. Third period, Mark Sheffley's 14th of the playoffs, 2nd of the game, assisted by Kyle Connor and Blake Wheeler, 3-2 Knights. Jonathan Marchessault's 8th of the playoffs, into the empty net, his 2nd of the game. Brady McNabb and Marc-Andre Fleury with the assists. 4-2 Knights was your final. Marc-Andre Fleury, 33 saves on 35 shots. I said on a podcast a couple days ago that I thought that Alex Ovechkin had supplanted him as the Conn Smythe favorite. Maybe I was wrong there. Mark Sheffley has to be in the conversation now as well from Winnipeg. Connor Hellebuck had 26 saves on 29 shots. Tonight we have Lightning at the Capitals, 8 o'clock, NBCSN. Will Washington take a 3-1 series lead, or will the Bolts even it up at 2 apiece? I think the Bolts are evening this up at 2 apiece. I had Tampa Bay in 6 as my prediction. I'm sticking with that. Let's go 3-2 Lightning in overtime with the winner by Steven Stamkos. For the Bolts even this thing up at 2 apiece. All right. Major League Baseball. Yesterday's games. The Phillies defeated the Orioles 4-1 as they improve to 24-16. Baltimore drops to 13-29. Nick Pivetta with the win. Andrew Cashner with the loss. Bottom of the first, home run. Adam Jones won with the Orioles. Top of the sixth, home run Cesar Hernandez. Tie game at 1 apiece. RBI single, Maikel Franco, 2-1 Phillies. RBI single, Pedro Florian, 3-1 Phillies. Top of the 7th, RBI double, Rhys Hoskins, 4-1 Phillies is your final. Nick Pivetta, 7 innings, 2 hits, an earned run, a walk, and 11 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 3.72 ERA. Andrew Cashner, 5 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 4.83 ERA. The Pirates defeated the White Sox 3-2 as they improved to 25-17. The White Sox dropped to 10-29. Edgar Santana with the win. Joakim Soria with the loss. Felipe Vasquez with the save. Top of the second, home run Leury Garcia. 1-0 White Sox. Bottom of the second, 2-run double Sean Rodriguez. 2-1 Pirates. Top of the fifth, home run Yolmer Sanchez. Tie game at 2 apiece. Bottom of the 7th, go ahead RBI single Josh Bell. 3-2 Pirates, your final. Jamison Tyon, 5 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 3.91 ERA. Hector Santiago, 5 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 5.29 ERA. The Indians defeat the Tigers 6-0 as they improve to 21-21. Detroit drops to 19-23. Trevor Bauer with the win. Rob Carpenter with the loss. Top of the first, Jose Ramirez safe on the throwing error by Rob Carpenter to allow Rajai Davis to score. 1-0 Indians. Sacrifice fly, Francisco Lindor. 2-0 Indians. Top of the fourth, RBI single Eric Gonzalez, 3-0 Indians. RBI double Jason Kipnis, 4-0 Indians. RBI single Roberto Perez, 5-0 Indians. Top of the fifth, home run Michael Brantley, 6-0 Indians is his final. Trevor Bauer was outstanding. 8 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 10 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 2.59 ERA. Rob Carpenter, 5 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, a walk, and no strikeouts, leaves the game with an 8.31 ERA. The Cardinals defeat the Twins 7-5 as they improve to 23-17. Minnesota drops to 18-21. Jordan Hicks with the win, Lance Lynn with the loss, Bud Norris with the save. Top of the first, a 2-run single by Dexter Fowler, 2-0 Cardinals. Bottom of the first, RBI single Max Kepler, 2-1 Cardinals. Top of the second, RBI single Jose Martinez, 3-1 Cardinals. Bottom of the second, RBI single Joe Mauer, 3-2 Cardinals. Top of the fifth, RBI double Paul DeJong, 4-2 Cardinals. Bottom of the sixth, home run Logan Morrison, 4-3 Cardinals. Top of the seventh, RBI single Jed Jerko, 5-3 Cardinals. RBI double Matt Carpenter, 6-3 Cardinals. Top of the eighth, home run Tommy Pham, 7-3 Cardinals. Bottom of the eighth, RBI single Logan Morrison, 7-4 Cardinals. Mitch Garver scores on the wild pitch by Bud Norris to make it a 7-5 game. That was your final. Miles McCullough's 4 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts leaves the game with a 2.63 ERA. Lance Lynn wasn't good. 3 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, and 5 strikeouts leaves the game with a 7.47 ERA. The Blue Jays destroyed the Mets 12-1 as they improved to 22-21. The Mets dropped to 20-19. J.A. Happ with the win. Zach Wheeler with the loss. Top of the first, home run Justin Smoke, 1-0 Blue Jays. Top of the fourth, a 2-run home run by Teoscar Hernandez, 3-0 Blue Jays. Top of the fifth, RBI single Josh Donaldson, 4-0 Blue Jays. 2-run double Justin Smoke, 6-0 Blue Jays. Top of the sixth, sacrifice fly Josh Donaldson, 7-0 Blue Jays. RBI single Teoscar Hernandez, 8-0 Blue Jays. RBI single Kevin Pillar, 9-0 Blue Jays. Top of the ninth, home run Richard Urena, 3-run shot, 12-0 Blue Jays. Bottom of the ninth, a garbage home run for Brandon Nimmo. 12-1 Blue Jays was your final. J.A. Happ was tremendous. 7 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 10 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 4.15 ERA. Zach Wheeler was mediocre. 4 innings, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 5.92 ERA. Mediocre might be an understatement for that one. Probably just bad. The Rays defeated the Royals 5-3 as they improved to 19-22. The Royals dropped to 13-30. Matt Andriese with the win. Jason Hamill at the loss. Alex Colon with the save. Top of the first, RBI ground out Brad Miller, 1-0 Rays. 2-run single Danny Henchenfaria, 3-0 Rays. Top of the third, home run CJ Cron, 4-0 Rays. Bottom of the fourth, sacrifice fly Eduardo Escobar, 4-1 Rays. Top of the fifth, RBI ground out into a double play Wilson Ramos as the run scores, 5-1 Rays. Bottom of the fifth, RBI double Jorge Soler, 5-2 Rays. Sacrifice fly Mike Moustakas, 5-3 Rays was your final. Jacob Faria, 4 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, and 2 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 5.2 ERA. Jason Hamill, 6 innings, 10 hits, 5 earned runs, no walks, and 2 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 6.28 ERA. The Rangers defeated the Mariners 5-1 as they improved to 17-27. The Mariners dropped to 24-18. Bartolo Colon with the win, James Pazos with the loss. There was no scoring until the top of the eighth. Delano DeShields with the RBI double, 1-0 Rangers. Top of the ninth, Ronald Guzman strikes out as 2-run score on a pass ball, 3-0 Rangers. Bases loaded, walk Delano DeShields, 4-0 Rangers. Infield single, Sinsu True, 5-0 Rangers. Bottom of the ninth, a garbage home run for Kyle Seager. 5-1 Rangers was your final. Bartolo Colon, really good. 7 2/3 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs, no walks, and 3 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 2.82 ERA. Christian Bergman, 7 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, no walks, and 5 strikeouts. Leaves the game with an ERA of 0. The Brewers defeated the Diamondbacks 8-2 as they improved to 26-18. The Diamondbacks dropped to 25-18. Brandon Woodruff with the win. Matthew Koch with the loss. Top of the first, home run Travis Shaw, 2-run shot. 2-0 Brewers. Home run Domingo Santana, 3-0 Brewers. Bottom of the first, a 2-run home run Daniel Descalso, 3-2 Brewers. Top of the second, a 2-run home run Christian Yelich, 5-2 Brewers. Top of the fourth, home run Tyler Saladino, 6-2 Brewers. Top of the fifth, RBI ground out Domingo Santana, 7-2 Brewers. RBI double Jonathan Villar, 8-2 Brewers is your final. Brandon Woodruff, 5 innings, a hit, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, and 6 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 6.75 ERA. Matthew Koch, 4 1/3 innings, 9 hits, 8 earned runs, a walk, and no strikeouts, leaves the game with a 4.06 ERA. The Reds defeated the Giants 6-3 to avoid the sweep as they improved to 15-29. The Giants dropped to 22-22. Jared Hughes with the win, Andrew Suarez with the loss, Rafael Iglesias with the save. Top of the first, RBI single, Joey Votto, 1-0 Reds. 3-run home run, Adam Duvall, 4-0 Reds. Bottom of the first, RBI double, Andrew McCutchen, 4-1 Reds. Sacrifice fly, Pablo Sandoval, 4-2 Reds. Bottom of the third, home run, Brandon Belt, 4-3 Reds. Top of the fifth, Joey Votto scores on the pass ball by Nick Hundley, 5-3 Reds. Top of the seventh, home run, Scooter Gennett, 6-3 Reds. Your final. Matt Harvey, 4 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, no walks, and 5 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 6.17 ERA. Andrew Suarez, 6 innings, 8 hits, 4 earned runs, a walk, and 5 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 4.88 ERA. The Red Sox defeated the A's 6-4 to avoid a sweep as they improved to 29-14. Oakland drops to 21-22. Chris Sale with the win. Trevor Cahill with the loss. Craig Kimbrell with the save. Bottom of the first, RBI groundout, Hanley Ramirez, 1-0 Red Sox. 2-run home run, J.D. Martinez, 3-0 Red Sox. Top of the fifth, a 2-run home run by Marcus Semien, 3-2 Red Sox. Bottom of the sixth, a 3-run home run by Xander Bogaerts, 6-2 Red Sox. Top of the seventh, home run Matt Joyce, 6-3 Red Sox. Top of the ninth, home run Matt Olson, 6-4 Red Sox. That's your final. Chris Sale, 5 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, and 9 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 2.29 ERA. Trevor Cahill, 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, a walk, and a strikeout, leaves the game with a 2.79 ERA. The Marlins defeated the Dodgers 6-5 as they improved to 16-26. The Dodgers dropped to 16-26. Drew Steckenrider with the win, Pedro Baez with the loss, Brad Ziegler with the save. Bottom of the first, RBI single, Brian Anderson, 1-0 Marlins. Bottom of the third, RBI single, Starlin Castro, 2-0 Marlins. Top of the fourth, home run, Yasmani Grandal, 2-1 Marlins. Bottom of the fifth, a 2-run home run by Justin Bour, 4-1 Marlins. Sacrifice fly, Miguel Rojas, 5-1 Marlins. Top of the sixth, a RBI single by Yasmani Grandal, 5-2 Marlins. RBI single, Chris Taylor, 5-3 Marlins. 2-run ground rule double, Max Muncy ties it up at 5 apiece. Bottom of the sixth, go-ahead home run, JT Realmuto, 6-5 Marlins was your final. Lacer Hernandez, 5 innings, 3 hits, an earned run, a walk, and 2 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 2.25 ERA. Walker Buehler, perhaps his worst start of his early career, 5 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 2.67 ERA. The Braves defeated the Cubs 4-1 as they improved to 26-16. The Cubs dropped to 22-18. AJ Minter with the win, Carl Edwards Jr. with the loss, Arodys Viciano with the save. Bottom of the first, RBI single, Freddie Freeman, 1-0 Braves. Top of the fifth, RBI single, Chris Bryant, tie game at 1 apiece. Bottom of the eighth, RBI single, Ronald Acuna Jr., 2-1 Braves. Bases loaded walk, Tyler Flowers, 3-1 Braves. Bases loaded walk, Johan Camargo, 4-1 Braves, your final. Brandon McCarthy pitched pretty well, 6 innings, 5 hits, an earned run, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 5.05 ERA. Tyler Chatwood, 5 1/3 innings, 4 hits, an earned run, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.14 ERA. The Astros defeated the Angels 2-0 as they improved to 28-17. The Angels dropped to 25-18. Justin Verlander with the win. Garrett Richards with the loss. All Verlander needed, it was a 2-run home run by Evan Gattis in the top of the second inning. 2-0 Astros was your final. Verlander with the complete game shutout. 9 innings, 5 hits, no earned runs, a walk, 7 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 1.05 ERA. He was just brilliant. Garrett Richards, 7 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 3.47 ERA. Today's games, and by the way, Yankees-Nationals was postponed, so the sort of doubleheader will be made up on June 18th. Today's games, 12 o'clock, you have Dodgers-Marlins, Kenta Maeda and Caleb Smith, Padres-Pirates, Eric Lauer and Chad Cole, Athletics-Blue Jays, Andrew Triggs and Aaron Sanchez, Orioles-Red Sox, Kevin Gausman and David Price, Phillies-Cardinals, Vince Velasquez and Luke Weaver, Cubs-Braves, John Lester and Mike Soroka, Rangers-White Sox, Cole Hamels and James Shields, Rays-Angels, Chris Archer and Tyler Skaggs, Tigers-Mariners, Matthew Boyd and Marco Gonzalez, and last but not least, Rockies-Giants, you have Chad Bettis and Jeff Samardzija. All right, now I'm going to revisit some old baseball predictions that I made before the season. Now that we're a quarter through the season, I'll see how they look. First, I'm going to go through who my all-star picks were going to be, and I'll tell you how I'm doing with each of them. My American League starting catcher was Gary Sanchez. That still looks like a good pick. Despite his low batting average, he's driving in runs and has a lot of homers. But his defense behind the plate is subpar, as I've mentioned several times on this podcast. The starter at first base, I had Greg Bird. That looks like a miss because he started the season on the disabled list and still isn't back yet. Second base, Jose Altuve. That looks like a good pick for right now, as he's still the guy that's hitting the ball a lot, even though his power's sort of down to begin the season. Shortstop, Carlos Correa. There's a lot of good picks for this, but the favorite for the shortstop right now, I'll get to in a couple minutes, but I don't want to give up on the Carlos Correa one yet, but I think we know who the favorite is. I'll get to it in a second. Third base, Josh Donaldson. That is not a good pick. He missed some time with injury, although he's getting there right now. Left field, Mike Trout. That might end up being the case because the outfield spots really don't matter. Center field, George Springer. He really hasn't gotten going yet, so that was a bad pick. Right field, Aaron Judge. That still is in play, but I'll get to somebody else that was one of my reserves that could end up playing another position. In the DH right now, I have Giancarlo Stanton. Got off to a slow start, but he's heating up right now, so maybe that pick holds up. The reserves, Salvador Perez. He was out to begin the season with the injury. Maybe he ends up getting that backup spot. First base, Jose Abreu. That's probably the favorite right now in terms of American League first baseman. Brian Dozier, who has been a little inconsistent. The shortstop, I had 2 shortstops. Francisco Lindor, who I think is the favorite for that spot right now, and Didi Gregorius. Didi looked like the starter in April, but I think he completely lost his all-star spot with his May slump. I also had Manny Machado as a reserve as well, and he could very well end up with that shortstop spot as well. And I had Joey Gallo as the third base reserve. I don't know if Gallo will get in or not. He has the home run totals, but his average isn't good. Chris Davis as the reserve left fielder / DH. He's off to a good start this season. Byron Buxton was hurt, so he probably won't make it. Mookie Betts is probably the favorite to start in right field right now. But if Aaron Judge surpasses him in home runs and runs batted in and batting average, then Judge will probably get the nod over Betts. But the case for both of them to start is that they put Mookie Betts at center field or at left field, and they put Mike Trout at the other position. But if you ask me right now who's their all-star game starting outfield, I'd say Aaron Judge in right, Mike Trout in center and Mookie Betts in left, or Betts in center and Trout in left, or something along those lines. And the reserve DH, Nelson Cruz, who's off to a solid start, but not a wow start. The pitchers, Corey Kluber, that looks like a good pick. Chris Sale looks like a good pick. Chris Archer, not a good pick. Luis Severino, great pick. Michael Fulmer, he's off to a bad start, so not a good pick. Dallas Keuchel, nope. Justin Verlander, absolutely. Marcus Stroman, maybe. Jose Barrios got off to a slow start, but he might be able to sneak in. The relievers, Chad Green, off to a solid start. Maybe he gets in. Andrew Miller, no, he got hurt and he's been inconsistent this year. Cody Allen, he was good up until that Yankee series, so I don't think he'll get in. Kelvin Herrera might get in solely because the Royals need a representative. It's either going to be him or Mike Moustakas getting in for the Royals. And Craig Kimbrell, probably, although he had the letdown against the Yankees and he gave up a home run last night. National League All-Star starters. Catcher, Wilson Contreras, looks like an okay pick. Maybe he does end up getting in because of the fans. But he only has 3 homers so far this season. Maybe he picks it up a little bit. First base, Anthony Rizzo was hurt for a while, so that he probably won't get in. Second base, Daniel Murphy, hurt, so he's obviously not going to get in. Corey Seager, hurt, he's not getting in. Third base, Nolan Arenado, probably. Left field, Christian Yelich, maybe. Center field, Marcell Ozuna. He's been disappointing this season for the Cardinals to this point. Maybe he turns it around, but I doubt it. He'll make the All-Star team. I don't doubt that he'll turn it around. I doubt that he'll make the All-Star team at this point. Right field, Bryce Harper. Almost a lock to get in my opinion. So that looks like a win. The reserves, catcher JT Realmuto. He began the year on the disabled list, but he's been really good since coming back. Maybe he ends up as the starting catcher. First base reserves, Paul Goldschmidt. That looks like I whiffed there. Joey Votto starting to heat up a little bit after a rough April. Maybe he gets in. Second base, Josh Harrison. He's been hurt, so nope. Shortstop, Trey Turner. He might get in because it's the Nationals and they want all their players in. Third base, Chris Bryant. Probably going to get in. Anthony Rendon got hurt, but still, it's the Nationals. I think the Nationals are going to do everything they can to get their players in. So that's still a possibility. The outfield, Rhys Hoskins, probably off to a good start this season, although the power numbers aren't really there yet. Cody Bellinger, probably, although the Dodgers are a mess right now. Charlie Blackmon, off to a tremendous start this season, so probably. Hunter Renfroe, I whiffed on that breakout pick. I'll admit defeat there. And Ronald Acuna, I think is almost a lock because he's just been outstanding. He's the favorite for the National League Rookie of the Year. So that's a good pick. The pitchers, Clayton Kershaw, he's not going to make it. He's on the DL. Madison Bumgarner, he's not back in time, so I don't think he'll make it. Noah Syndergaard. Syndergaard's off to a good start, but I don't know if he'll get in. Jacob deGrom hurt a little bit, so maybe not him. Jose Quintana, I whiffed on that one. I thought he was going to be good this year. Max Scherzer, good pick. Steven Strasburg, good pick. The other 2 starters, Aaron Nola, I think he's a lock at this point. And Robbie Ray, that's a whiff because he's hurt. Relief pitchers, Kenley Jansen, he's turned it on a little bit since struggling to start the season, so maybe he gets in. Wade Davis has been mostly good for the Rockies. He probably gets in. A.J. Ramos has been a bust with the Mets so far. Brendan Morrow's been good with the Cubs, so I think that's a win. Archie Bradley's a win because I think he's been pretty good this year with the Diamondbacks. The surprise breakout players thus far for every team. Ketel Marte of the Diamondbacks. Ketel Marte is hitting .226, so that doesn't look like a good pick right now. Ronald Acuna looks like a great pick. Dansby Swanson has been hurt recently, but he was off to a pretty solid start, and he should be back soon, but that looks like a good pick. A really good pick by me, Ozzie Albies of the Braves. That was an excellent pick by me. Baltimore, Chance Cisco is right now their backup catcher, so that's a whiff for right now. Maybe he takes over at the end of the season as their starter, but that doesn't look like a good pick right now. Austin Hayes is in the minors. Bad pick. Rafael Devers hitting .245, so not really a good pick right now. Ian Happ is hitting .233, so that's not a good pick right now. Albert Almora Jr., by the way, he made the play of the year so far, robbing Tyler Flowers of a home run. It was an incredible catch. He robbed them at center field, pretty much climbed the wall to get it. He's off to a terrific start this year, hitting .297 in the leadoff spot for the Cubs. So that looks like a good pick right now. Carl Edwards Jr. has a 3.79 ERA. He had a rough game last night, but before last night, he had an ERA of 2.41. So maybe that was just a blip on the radar. We'll see. But that's like a half-assed right now. A good pick in terms of the White Sox breakout player, Matt Davidson. He has a lot of home runs and he's hitting .250. Yoan Moncada was on the disabled list, but he's back. He was hitting .254, but I think that will improve. That looks like an okay pick right now. Jesse Winker of the Reds is hitting .258 right now. I expect that to be better. Jose Peraza of the Reds is hitting .269. Maybe that gets a little better, so I don't want to whiff on those two, but I think those are half-asks because they look okay right now. This one looks like a whip that I'm about to say. Brandon Finnegan. He has an ERA of 7.40. So that looks like a whiff. And Luis Castillo, who showed signs of a breakout last year, has a 6.02 ERA, so that's a whiff right now too. Bradley Zimmer of the Cleveland Indians, .224, so that's a whiff right now. And Francisco Mejia hasn't even been called up yet, so that's a whiff. Ryan McMahon of the Rockies is a whiff. Jeimer Candelario showed signs before he was placed on the disabled list for the Tigers. Before he got hurt, he was hitting .272, so that looked like a solid pick. Alex Bregman of the Astros, who I think is always overlooked on that team, hitting .259. Maybe that gets a little better. I don't want to whiff on that one yet. Forrest Whitley looks like a whiff right now as he's currently suspended for drug use. A very good pick right now for me is Jorge Soler of the Royals. That was my pick for the Royals. He's hitting .314 this year, and he looks like the player that the Cubs thought they were getting in Soler. My Angels breakout pick was Cole Calhoun, who's just been dreadful this season and hitting a .165, so that's a whiff. The Dodgers, Scott Alexander, the pitcher they traded for, that's a whiff right now, 5.14 ERA. And Alex Verdugo, who's currently in the minors, but when he came up for the cup of coffee, he was hitting .265, so that's not terrible. I'm not going to whiff on Verdugo. Talk about whiffs. Lewis Brinson of the Marlins, who came over in the Christian Yelich deal, hitting a .171. Brian Anderson of the Marlins is hitting .275. So that looks like a good pick right now. Orlando Arcia of the Brewers hitting .211. So that looks like a little bit of a whiff. Tyler Kinley of the Minnesota Twins, a huge whiff right now, has an ERA of a 24.3. I think he's in the minors. Ahmed Rosario, not going to whiff there, as he's hitting .254 on the season, although he's been disappointing relative to expectations. But I'm not going to completely whiff on Rosario. Brandon Nimmo's hitting .267. Been pretty solid in the leadoff hole. I'm not going to declare that one a win yet. Jordan Montgomery of the Yankees was pretty good, as he had an ERA of 3.62 before he landed on the disabled list. He should be back by the All-Star break. Tyler Wade, that's a whiff. He's in the minors. Tyler Austin is somebody that wasn't a whiff, although he's hitting .241. He had some big home runs for the Yanks, so that's not a bad one. Gleyber Torres has came up and made an immediate impact dividends, as Torres is hitting a sparkling .324. It's a couple homers already. He's just been tremendous. That was a good pick by me. And another good pick by me is Miguel Andujar, who is hitting .284 right now. So that looks like another win. Oakland has a bunch of guys that I thought. Stephen Piscotty, who had the incredible story with his mom, hitting .240 right now, but I think he turns it around a little bit. And I'm not going to completely whiff on him. A complete whiff was Kendall Graveman, who was sent down to AAA. He has an ERA of 7.6. He's looking like a bust by the day. Jorge Mateo isn't even in the big leagues yet. Dustin Fowler just got called up by the A's. He is hitting a subpar .133. So I'm not willing to give up on Fowler yet because he's new. And Franklin Barreto has not even been called up yet. But I'm not willing to call that a whiff. The Phillies, Jorge Alfaro, their starting catcher, hitting .239 right now. I expect him to turn it around a little bit. J.P. Crawford, hitting a subpar .188. So that looks like a whiff. Mark Leiter Jr. hasn't even pitched yet this season for the Phillies, so that looks like a whiff right now. Colin Moran of the Pirates, the key player they got in the Cole trade, hitting .292. So that looks like a good pick. Jameson Taillon has an ERA of 3.97 and has been awesome in some starts and subpar in others. He just has to be more consistent. I'm not whiffing on that one. Manuel Margot, San Diego Padres, hitting .200. And Hunter Renfroe is a complete whiff, hitting .200, but he's hurt right now, and his value is only worsening from there. Jarrett Parker of the San Francisco Giants hasn't seen the field yet this season. Ty Block, been pretty solid for the Giants, has an ERA of 4.05. Ryan Healy of the Mariners, starting to heat up a little bit. He's hitting .278. So that looks like a solid pitch. Mitch Haniger looked like a much better pick a few weeks ago, but still looks like a good pick. Hitting .294 and has double digits in home runs. Taylor Motter who's currently in the minors, but had a .267 average in limited at-bats this season. Alex Reyes isn't back from Tommy John surgery yet for the Cardinals. Blake Snell of the Rays, 3.12 ERA, so he's off to a pretty good start this season. Nate Eovaldi hasn't thrown a pitch yet this year. Willie Calhoun hasn't even made the big leagues yet this year. Randall Grichuk of the Blue Jays is hitting $106, and he's on the disabled list right now. Ezekiel Carrera of the Blue Jays hasn't seen the field yet this year. Adam Eaton currently on the disabled list. He'll be back in June. But before he was hurt, he was hitting an astonishing .345. And Coda Glover, the reliever, hasn't even seen the field yet. So a bunch of whiffs and some good ones. The good ones being Acuna and Albies and Haniger, Gleyber Torres, and the whiffs being the ones that jump out at me at least. Ryan McMahon and Lewis Brinson and Randall Grichuk, although he's on the disabled list, and Hunter Renfroe is a big whiff as well. My award picks for the season, I picked Aaron Judge for the American League MVP. I still think that is in play. On my list, I also had Mike Trout, who's been really good this season, very quietly. Carlos Correa, who's off to a good start this year. Jose Altuve doesn't have the same power numbers, but is still hitting at a high level. Gary Sanchez, who has a low average, but is hitting for power and has driven in a lot of runs. Giancarlo Stanton's starting to get it together. He has 5 home runs already in the month of May. Francisco Lindor of the Indians looks like a tremendous pick. Manny Machado of the Orioles, I asterisked that just in case he was traded to an American League. Number 8, I had Manny Machado, and I had asterisked it just in case he got traded to a National League team, which I think is still in play. Off to a great start this season. Right now's favorite for the award, I had a number 9, which is Mookie Betts of the Red Sox, although if you think Lindor's the favorite, that's not a bad choice either. 10, I had Brian Dozier, who's been inconsistent so far. In my number 11, in case Machado is traded to the National League, JD Martinez, who's been awesome so far this season despite a slow start. The American League Cy Young, number 1, Corey Kluber, still in play. 2, Chris Sale, still in play. 3, Dallas Keuchel. He hasn't been very good. 4, Luis Severino. If Severino wins this award, it's probably going to come back to bite me because Severino almost was my pick for this. But Corey Kluber's still in the American League, and so is Chris Sale. And I thought Severino was too popular of a pick, so I went with Kluber. But I won't be surprised if Severino ends up winning the award. The guy who's the favorite right now, I had at number 5, who is Justin Verlander. 6, I have Carlos Carrasco. 7, Marcus Stroman. 8, Chris Archer. I had an asterisk there because I thought he was going to get traded, but he probably will get traded. Number 9, Garrett Cole. 10, Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray's been atrocious this year. That's a whiff. 11, Michael Fulmer. I had an asterisk there just in case he was traded to the National League. That's why I had Archer with an asterisk too. And 12, Jose Barrios. American League Rookie of the Year. I think I whiffed on this award already because I didn't even put Shohei Ohtani in my top 12. Willie Calhoun, not even in the big leagues yet. Francisco Mejia, not even in the big leagues yet. If Ohtani doesn't win it, the guy that's number 3 on my list will win it, and that's Gleyber Torres, who's just been tremendous for the Yankees, and they've took off ever since he was called up. 4, Michael Kopech of the White Sox, hasn't even seen the big leagues yet. Franklin Perez of the Tigers hasn't even seen the big leagues yet. Eloy Jimenez, 6, hasn't even seen the big leagues yet. Neither has Franklin Barreto, or Willie Adames, or Chance Adams, or Kyle Tucker, or Austin Hayes. Chance Sisco's in the bigs, but he's currently their backup. American League Manager of the Year, 1, Aaron Boone. Looks like a solid choice if the Yankees finish with the best record in baseball. 2, A.J. Hinch, reigning World Series winner. 3, Terry Francona, but the Indians are 500, so that doesn't look like the best pick in the world. Number 4 is the guy that's probably going to win it, and that's Alex Cora, despite not being in first place in the American League East. The Red Sox are much better than folks expected. And 5, Rick Renteria of the White Sox. That looks like a complete whiff, as the White Sox have been a complete disaster this year. And the award for best reliever, which is the Mariano Rivera Award in the American League. Craig Kimbrell was my pick to win it. Still in play. 2, Cody Allen. Doesn't look good. 3, Aroldis Chapman, who's probably the favorite for the award right now. Fernando Rodney, 4. He hasn't been that good for the Twins. I had Zach Britton with an asterisk in case he was traded to the National League. He hasn't even pitched yet this year. And I had Andrew Miller on there, and he hasn't been good yet this year. The National League, I had Bryce Harper winning the MVP. That still looks like a good pick. 2, Anthony Rizzo. That's a whiff. He missed part of April. 3, Corey Seager. That's a complete whiff. He's out for the year. 4, Cody Bellinger. Maybe, we'll see. 5, Marcelo Ozuna. Maybe. 6, Yoenis Cespedes. He's hurt, so that looks like a bad pick. Ozuna looks like a bad pick, too, because he's off to a slow start. 7, Chris Bryant. Off to a really good start. 8, Paul Goldschmidt. He's been dreadful, so that's a whiff. 9, Nolan Arenado. Looks like a solid pick. 10, Joey Votto. He's turned it around a little bit after a slow start. 11, Wilson Contreras. He hasn't been that good yet this year. 12, Christian Yelich, who's been pretty solid for the Brewers. The NL Cy Young, 1, Clayton Kershaw. That looks like a whiff. He's on the disabled list right now. 2, Max Scherzer, still in play. 3, Steven Strasburg. He's been pretty good. 4, Noah Syndergaard. He has an ERA in the 3s, and he's only going to get better. Maybe he sneaks up in there. 5, Jose Quintana. That's a whiff. 6, Carlos Martinez. He's on the disabled list right now, but he's been pretty solid when he's been healthy. 7, Jacob deGrom. He's been pretty good this year, although he's hurt right now. 8, Robbie Ray. He's hurt right now. 9, Yu Darvish. Disaster. Bad pick. 10, Aaron Nola. That's a really good pick. National League Rookie of the Year, 1, Ronald Acuna. He looks like the favorite right now. 2, Scott Kingery. Been a little inconsistent. 3, Walker Buehler. He's been really good this year, other than last night. 4, Nick Senzel hasn't been called up yet. 5, Alex Verdugo hasn't been called up yet. 6, Jack Flaherty. He's been pretty good for the Cardinals so far. 7, Jesse Winker. Been a little mediocre for the Reds. 8, Lewis Brinson. He's been bad with the Marlins. 9, Brian Anderson. He's off to a good start. 10, Ryan McMahon, who's been dreadful for the Rockies. Manager of the Year, 1, Dave Martinez. He could win it. 2, Craig Counsell could win it. 3, Mike Matheny has to be in the conversation. He's done a good job so far. This looked good when they were 11-1. This looks like a whiff now, and that's Mickey Callaway of the Mets, who I don't think's been good at all, especially batting them out of order. He's made some questionable bullpen decisions, but maybe the Mets turn it around a little bit. We'll see. And 5, Gabe Kapler. That looks like a really good pick, as the Phillies are 24-16 right now. And the top reliever, which is the Trevor Hoffman Award, Kenley Jansen. He's turned it on a little bit of late. 2, I had Corey Nebel, the closer of the Brewers. He's been out, injured. Let's see if he comes back and makes an impact. 3, Wade Davis. Been pretty good. Archie Bradley's been solid for the Diamondbacks. And Brandon Morrow has been really good for the Cubs. Now let's go through my bold predictions for every team. I said for Arizona that the loss of JD Martinez keeps them from the playoffs. We'll see. The Braves, I said, despite progress from young talent, the team fires Brian Skinner. That is a complete whiff right now. If you ask me who the wild card teams in baseball are going to be right now, I'd say the Braves and the Cardinals. So that's a whiff right now, as I think Skinner is now the favorite for the National League Manager of the Year award. Baltimore. The team trades away Manny Machado, Brad Brock, Zach Britton, and Adam Jones. The trade deadline hasn't come yet, so that's a TBD. Boston. Team upgrades rotation and bullpen and falls short of the American League East. Trade deadline hasn't happened yet, and the AL East is not over yet. Chicago. Jose Quintana ends up their best starter with Chicago White Sox. Lucas Giolito makes Nats regret trading him as he improves with the Reds. Nick Senzel makes National League Rookie of the Year and All-Star case, but falls short. He hasn't seen the big leagues yet. Francisco Mejia finishes second in AL Rookie of the Year and ends up as their starting catcher. Not called up yet. Young starters regress from last season, and that keeps him from the playoffs. Herman and Gray have been pretty solid for them. So I can't say that I've been right on that so far, and I don't want to whiff on it either because the season's still pretty young. Michael Fulmer, Nets Tigers, a great haul from a contender. That can still happen. Forrest Whitley in rotation to finish the season, maybe. But that looks like a whiff. Royals, Salvador Perez traded, and the Royals' return is decent. Maybe. Oh, this is the whiff of all whiffs. Shohei Ohtani looks like a bust for most of the year, but finishes strong. That is the whiff of all whiffs. Dodgers, trade for a frontline starter to pair with Kershaw at the trading deadline. That's looking like a whiff by the day as the Dodgers season is falling apart. The Marlins, the league's worst record, and Don Mattingly is the first manager fired. The Mattingly part of it's a whiff, and MLB's worst record I can't necessarily rule out yet, as they'll probably trade guys like Justin Bour and JT Realmuto. Brewers, trade for a frontline starter and leads them to the playoffs. I don't want to whiff on that one yet, because I just said I think it's going to be the Cardinals and the Braves in the wild card game. And I obviously think that the Cubs are going to win the National League Central when it's all said and done. But although I don't want to whiff on this yet. The Polanco suspension, lack of an ace, and the Santana injury derails the team. Two of them have derailed them so far. It's just the Santana injury and the Polanco suspension. Jose Barrios has emerged as their ace, so the term lack of an ace really is the whiff part of that prediction. Ahmed Rosario and Brandon Nimmo proved to be keepers, and Nimmo forces the Mets' hands. That looks like a whiff for now. The Yankees, 300 home runs as a team, and the team trades for a frontline starter to help them win the World Series. The second part of that prediction has not happened yet, but I think it will. 300 home runs as a team probably will happen, the way they're hitting home runs right now. The A's, Franklin Barreto finally makes Donaldson trade look okay. Barreto hasn't been called up yet, and that looks like a whiff right now. Phillies, Aaron Nola has a better season than Jake Arrieta. That is a good prediction, but Arrieta's been much better than I thought he'd be. And so has Nola, to be fair. Both of them have been phenomenal, and Nola's been better than Arrieta. Colin Moran turns into a keeper, and Tyler Glasnow and Jamison Taillon have solid seasons. Part of that's a whiff, which is Glasnow as of right now. Taillon looks like it's good, and so is Moran. Padres, Hunter Renfroe has an all-star season, and Manuel Margot solid too. Those are whiffs. Giants, team underperforms and trades Madison Garner and Andrew McCutchen. Still not out of the possibility, as their schedule is going to get harder. The reason why I think they're 22-22 is because they're taking advantage of the Padres and the Dodgers being bad, and their schedule's been weak and have played the Reds and teams like that. And against better teams, they have not looked very good, despite sweeping the Atlanta Braves. But they failed in Philadelphia and in Pittsburgh. So the downfall could still happen. Seattle, Dan Vogelbach finally performs and forces his team to make a decision regarding the roster. Vogelbach was pretty good, and now he's in AAA tearing it up. Maybe he's called up again. Cardinals, Marcell Ozuna proves to be one of the best off-season acquisitions. That's been the complete opposite, so that looks like a whiff right now. Rays, Chris Archer traded. Willie Adames, Christian Arroyo, Jake Bauers, all Impact rookies. None of those three have been called up yet, and Chris Archer hasn't been traded yet, so that's still a TBD. Texas, Willie Calhoun wins the American League Rookie of the Year. That looks like a whiff. Team sells at the deadline. That looks like a possibility. So part 2 of that's probably going to be right. Toronto Blue Jays, Josh Donaldson trade rumors, but not necessarily traded. Vlad Guerrero Jr. called up anyway. I think both of those will continue, as Guerrero Jr. will be called up once Donaldson's traded. I didn't necessarily say that Donaldson was going to stay or leave, but I said that the trade rumors will be there all season. So that looks like a good pick. Nationals, team trades for a starter, still in play. Bryce Harper's baseball's best player of the season. Part 2 of that has looked like the case at some points, and I still think there's a chance that that's a distinct possibility. Other random predictions, some of these actually were correct. Jose Ramirez regresses, whiff. Some team scores 20 runs in a game. I think that will happen. Aaron Judge has a 4-homer game. Maybe. 7 no-hitters. Jose Quintana, probably not. James Paxton, he did it. Luis Severino, maybe. Clayton Kershaw, maybe. Steven Strasburg, maybe. Jake Arrieta, maybe. With how good he's been this year. And Noah Syndergaard, maybe. More major injuries to real contenders. That's correct. Corey Seager. White Sox and Phillies surprise early, fade late in the year. White Sox, nope, that's a whiff. Phillies, looks like a win. Let's see if they fade late in the season to make the prediction look correct. Bryce Harper wins the home run derby. We'll see. Harper and Manny Machado free agency will be media chatter all year, and it's already been media chatter. Madison Bumgarner, biggest name moved at the deadline that nobody thinks will be moved. I still think that's a possibility, especially if the Yankees come with a monster offer. 2 more big-name players suspended for PEDs. We got one of them, and that's Robinson Cano. Now we just have to see who the other one will be. Bryce Harper involved in another big brawl. Hasn't happened yet. Yankees-Tigers have another brawl, and so do the Red Sox and Orioles. No and no so far. Giancarlo Stanton gets a standing O in Miami and hits 5 home runs against Miami this year. On my list, I said 10 home runs, but I screwed up that prediction. I meant to say 10 home runs combined from Ozuna and Yelich against the Marlins and not Stanton alone. So the prediction was Giancarlo Stanton gets standing O in Miami return and hits 5 home runs against Miami this year. Maybe in the 2 games in Miami he gets 5, but I did not foresee the slow start coming from Stanton. Aaron Judge wins the Triple Crown. Mookie Betts looks like the Triple Crown winner right now, not Aaron Judge, but I still think Judge is capable of doing it. But that prediction is looking like a whiff. And I just said that Ozuna and Yelich combined to hit 10 home runs against the Marlins pitching, which is still in play. There will be a 20-inning game. Maybe, maybe not. Yanks hit. The Yankees have 10 20-homer guys. We'll see. Major League Baseball record for home runs in a single season again. Probably. A 20 strikeout game, and I said it was going to be Max Scherzer. Still in play. Tyler Glasnow and Jamison Taillon proved to be building blocks. One of them has, the other hasn't. An MLB draft first rounder gets called up at the end of the season. Maybe. Chance Adams is this year's Chad Green for the Yanks. Nope. Not right now. Ray's new core will be fun to watch at the end of the year. It's not the end of the year yet, so we'll see if that comes to fruition. There will be a trade that falls through, like the trade that almost sent Carlos Gomez to the Mets. Maybe. We'll see. Jose Barrios and Hunter Renfroe are the non-rookie breakout players. One of them looks like a good one, Barrios, and the other, Renfroe, does not. Marwin Gonzalez is this year's Jose Ramirez, except not an MVP finalist. That has not been the case so far. This year's Jose Ramirez has been Jose Ramirez. Someone homers in 10 straight games, maybe. A team has a 15-plus game winning streak. A couple teams came close. The Yankees had a 9-gamer and an 8-gamer. The Red Sox had a big one, too. So a couple teams came close. And a team has a 15-plus game losing streak. And I just assume that that's going to be the Marlins at some point. But we'll see, because the Marlins have actually been somewhat competitive so far this year. And Eloy Jimenez is this year's Rhys Hoskins. That could be possible. Last but not least, the WNBA season begins tomorrow night. And I'm going to give to you my predictions for the season. I'm just going to give you the team order, not really descriptions. This is how I think the standings will play out. 1, Minnesota Lynx. 2, the Sparks of Los Angeles. 3, the Phoenix Mercury. 4, Dallas Wings. 5, Connecticut Sun. 6, Washington Mystics. 7, the Atlanta Dream. 8, the New York Liberty. And those are your playoff teams. And your lottery teams, 9, Seattle Storm. 10, the Las Vegas Aces. 11, the Indiana Fever. And 12, the Chicago Sky. The playoffs, first round, Liberty versus the Sun. And the first and second round, don't forget, guys, are now single elimination games. With the Sun at full strength, they'll be at their stride and will win this game over to Liberty, led by John K. Jones and Shine Agumake. Tina Charles will keep the Liberty in this, and the pick is the Sun. 7, Atlanta Dream against the 6, Washington Mystics. 2 of the league's best players go head-to-head, and Angel McCoughtry and Elena Deladon. Give me Deladon and the Mystics, who are the better team with a coaching advantage, so the pick is the Mystics. Second round, 5-seeded Connecticut Sun versus the 4-seeded Dallas Wings. Should be a very fun game, but the Sun will be the better team come around as they'll pull this one out over Skylar Diggins-Smith and the Wings. The pick is the Sun. 6, Washington Mystics against the 3-seeded Phoenix Mercury. Stars abound here with Elena Deladon, Brittany Griner, and Diana Taurasi here. The Mercury, with home court advantage, have 2 of the 3 best players on the court and take this one despite the Mystics having a good team and coach. The pick is the Mercury. Semifinals is the best of 5. 5-seeded Connecticut Sun against the 1-seeded Minnesota Lynx. An up-and-coming team against the reigning champions. Giving Maya Moore, Sylvia Fowles, and the Lynx the cruise in the series. The pick is the Lynx in 3. 3-seeded Phoenix Mercury against the 2-seeded Los Angeles Sparks. This is a star-studded series with Griner, Taurasi, Candace Parker, and Nneka Agumake. The Sparks are the better team as they set up a rematch with the Lynx. The pick is the Sparks in 4 games. The WNBA Finals, Sparks and the Lynx, the best 2 teams in the WNBA, not even close, as they fight for League Supremacy as well as the league title. Parker and Agumake, along with Moore and Foles, highlight the star power here. Give me Cheryl Reeve and the Lynx to repeat as league champions, so the pick is the Lynx in 5 games. WNBA Awards, MVP, Maya Moore of the Lynx. Rookie of the Year, Aja Wilson of the Aces. Defensive Player of the Year, Brittany Griner of the Mercury. The 6th Woman of the Year, Sugar Rogers of the Liberty. Most Improved Player, Kelsey Plum of the Aces. Coach of the Year, Fred Williams of the Wings. Executive of the Year, Penny Tolaire of the Sparks. That's it for the WNBA predictions, and that's it for today's podcast. I'll be back tomorrow recapping Game 4 between the Lightning and the Capitals, as well as all the baseball action. And we'll look ahead to all the other action that's taking place tomorrow. I hope you guys have a great day, everybody.